Hello there, ladies, gentlemen and unicorns. Thank you so much for inviting me to your browser tab again, a little bit later than usual, but it's still great that there are at least more than one person's watching, which usually is me just in another browser. So welcome and thank you for joining me today. My weird drink, as has been asked in the chat by Frank, again it's water. Turns out you shouldn't drink something with fizzly bubbles inside because you just can't burp on the stream, and there's no easy way to dodge yourself around it. So this is why I'm usually drinking water and reserving anything that's carbonated for my recorded videos, where I can just cut out every time that I'm making strange stomach noises. So you're very welcome. Okay, today again, I'm a little bit later because now I have to plug something. The 2 hours before, I was on the DOS Game Club podcast, DOS Game Club podcast, where we were talking about the last game we played. Well, not the last game we played, the game we played as a club in June. And I urge you to check it out if you're also interested in playing old DOS games and talking about them on the podcast or in the forums or on IRC or anywhere else. But yeah, we have this little club and it's always funny to look at games from today's standpoint that were big and grand in the oh my god, it's already the 1990s. I'm usually saying 2010, 2012, but it's still the past century, and some games have aged better than others. Anyway, what we are going to do today on this stream is, let me switch over there. I think, yeah, usually with my transitions, something's always hanging, but transition time, it worked. So again, we're going to continue work on this digital set extension, and I give you a little overview of the last stream where I was working on it, just so that you know that we're all on the same page. Let's have a look at the chat, and oh my god, there are 11 concurrent viewers. Apparently this is a better time for you to stream, but it's a worse time for me. Either way, thank you so much for joining, and hey everyone! So we're here in Premiere, and this is the current edit of the Ludum Dare 42 post-mortem. And if you're new to this channel and have no idea why the Ludum Dare 42 is taking so long, yeah, I elected to make a little film noir sequence, and it turned out much bigger and much more elaborate than I've ever intended to. But again, with additional viewers and additional audience, I always want to make things as good as I possibly can, and this is why things just exploded. And this is why you can see me here. Let's turn down the desktop audio a bit. And this is why you can see me here dressed up. Oh, great, another email. Thank you. Apparently, Google is telling me that I just went live. So thank you. Thank you, Google. Okay, so you can see me here in a trench coat outside acting or whatever is close to acting. And the shot that I'll be needing a digital scene extension is this one here, because it is, let me make this a bit bigger here, because it is plainly obvious that this isn't taking place in the 1940s, and I need a big old warehouse where I'm headed. And yeah, scrubbed in the wrong window. This is still. I need to exchange this building for something that looks more like some kind of back alley in an industrial section of Los Angeles. And in the last stream that I was working on it, I painted this little mood or concept painting. If you can see, it is still the same shot, but completely painted over, only with this segment here. Let me highlight it when I can. Yes, now it works. This segment here, this is still coming from the camera, and everything else will be digitally exchanged, that it looks more like to what you would expect. And the thing is planned to be in black and white, but I always want to work in color, and this is why I'm still doing all this compositing stuff there already in color or still in color, because then I have more options when I'm in the stage of taking out the color, so that everything is really legible, as we say, that all the shapes read well against each other, that you can still see that there's a person walking there and that it's not blending into the background or something. So with this little concept here that I painted, that was just roughly for the perspective and point of view and just what is visible there, I headed to Maya, where I did this very elaborate blocking, this just a scene mock-up of the geometry as it would play out or as would be located in the real world, because it always helps having this in some kind of 3D space where you can really see the aspect ratio of the whole shot with actual geometry that's physically plausible. Let me just switch over here to the camera view. And do we have, or where do we have the image played? Apparently it has been lost in translation because I moved the folder around. So let me try to get it. Select camera A. I started working with Maya more than 10 years back. I came from 3D Studio Max and never really acclimatized myself to Blender. So you're probably wondering why I'm working with this big old behemoth that is Maya. It's because I don't know any other software. So display mode, image plane. There we should see something. 5, 6. Apparently not. I'm reading here in this window here an error that says unable to load the image for image plane. That's a great start already. But the gist of it is that this is the 3D mock-up view of this thing here. And already, if you're new to this channel, last time, if you're wondering just what is wrong here with this background here, this is just a screenshot that I took from a video of playing LA Noire for reference, that I just squashed in there, but the horizon is off and everything just isn't working too well. And what I'm going to do in today's stream and see how far I can go or how far I can take it is trying to flesh out this 3D recreation of this shot and see how much I have to model and how much I can just fake with textures. The good thing is that this shot is not moving, that it's stationary, so that means that everything can be, in the end, if I need to do some touch-ups in Photoshop, it's not a real problem, because as soon as you move the camera you can't just cheat with overpainting stuff, but in 2D you can. So I just need a rough layout of the locality, how it would be in 3D, which also helps with lighting, and then see how much I need to do in Photoshop or compositing. In terms of compositing, I have already here a blank slate. No, it's a blank project in Nuke, which is my compositing software of choice, where I only have the shot in here just in case that we should have already something rendered out that I can test it right against what comes straight from the camera in the compositing software. Also, I'm using Nuke and not After Effects, because I started out with After Effects, but for an internship I needed to learn Nuke, and then realized how much it helps you when you're working on bigger projects in terms of just speed and ease of use compared to After Effects. But if you're interested in Nuke, I also have a stream where I showed a little bit of my Nuke workflow, and this is how compositing in Nuke looks like. This is, of course, on this side here. On the right side is the composite, and this is how, let me check, this is how it looked before. And so just that you know what this whole Nuke compositing thing is about. Okay, so let's have another look at the chat, because I constantly don't don't pay attention to the chat. So I'm really sorry if I'm not involving you enough. So let's have a look there and see what have I missed. Audio just went down quite a bit. Again, I don't know why this keeps happening. Thank you. Is this better now? Please let me know if the audio is better, because I can't turn up the volume any further than this. I don't know what's causing this. Sometimes it happens after 20 minutes, sometimes after 5. I really don't know why. Funny that the video is taking forever, but Back to the Future one with all the effects didn't. Yeah, the keynote. With the keynote I had a deadline, and here I don't have a deadline, so I don't have to cut any corners, which means I'm just chiseling away on this, and that I don't just keep you starved for any new video or any new content. The work on this has slowed down even a little bit further, so that I can squeeze in other videos that are just shorter in scope, like the how to make shoot 'em up sound effects that I posted this week. So I want to have a more steady stream of videos, but still this particular Ludum Dare video will again take as long as it needs to be, and this will probably be my Duke Nukem Forever or Half-Life 3. Let's hope it's a Duke Nukem and not a Half-Life 3 video. Yeah, this is why it's taking so long, but again, I want to scope back on the Ludum Dare videos, on just this grand vision that I have. Like I said, this is actually a short film inside a documentary of me making a Ludum Dare game, and this short film bit is just, again, I completely overscoped. Classical, first time mistake, and it's not my first time, so there are no excuses. But again, I wanted to make it as good and entertaining as I can, and like I said, it's my Mount Everest. But then again, there's a new Ludum Dare in 2 weeks or so. The theme Slaughter is already underway, and of course I will be recording this. And with all subsequent Ludum Dare documentaries, I won't invest as much insane scope as in the Ludum Dare 42 one. So I'm planning to put out perhaps shorter Ludum Dare documentaries, but still entertaining ones, I hope, and with a little bit of polish here and polish there. But again, I need to finish this big one first before I even dare to come up with another one that's, I want to say, equally scoped, but let's don't scope that big. So rest assured, it's coming, but I don't know when. At this point, this is 1 year in production, and yeah. But if it weren't for you all audience who still are waiting for this, I probably would have given up on this. But right now I'm so deep in, and I've put so much resources into it, that I want to finish this no matter how long it takes me. Okay, so time travel is quite powerful. Must be the futuristic coffee. Colored black and white will always be more realistic than black and white, just guessing. Oh, colored to black and white, now I get it. Yeah, for me, I needed to see it in color, because also I'm a colorist by trade. And like I said, when you have all the colors in the spectrum or in the footage there that were there, and if you, because I could of course have even started out shooting just in black and white, but again, I need the options in post because I'm a perfectionist. Unhappy, maybe send finished back video. If it progresses like this, we will end up with a 2-hour epic movie that has a chapter of Ludum Dare in them. Yeah, I don't want to bore you with 2 hours. I just want to have 20 minutes that are as dense and perfect as possible. Well worth delaying that one a bit. Oh, thank you. So I was feeling a little bit bad for making another video while everyone is waiting for this one. But then again, the reception of my latest shmup sound effects video has been so great that I really started thinking about, yeah, I should produce more shorter videos with a little bit. Who keeps sending me emails? Seriously, guys. I think I have to take that one. No, it's from academia.edu, the LinkedIn of academic services. I don't know where I wanted to go with this. Okay, enough about lip services of, yeah, I will finish this next week. No, I won't. I won't finish it next week. I hope to finish it by next year, but I can't make any promises because Man, the year is almost over and I still don't have an image plate in this one. So let's find the file where the image plate of this is meant to be. And because I'm watching this on my big old 4K screen that I don't have any kind of UI upscaling, and I don't have any glasses or need them, but I think I will need them soon. I can't read this, so I have to leave and squint. Okay, now I know the path and can look it up. So this is also the reason why I'm moving Windows outside of this view, because this is my UHD screen, and left and right I have two satellite HD screens and there I can read stuff from this far. Okay, so where do we have it? Warehouse, sources, I think it was references. I think it was this one. Yes, this looks good. I think this was the one that I used. Also important is to try to hint at where the perspective is, where especially important where the horizon is, where all the vanishing points are of the line. It helps tremendously when you're trying to match something. Okay, so again, this block here is supposed to be me in the shot, and from the looks of what I can see right now from this wireframe, it doesn't look correct now, does it? For some reason it looks off, but it isn't. So I'm just trying now to see if the horizon is correct, but it kinda looks okay. You know what? I said we won't be moving the camera, but we won't be moving it when we're pretty sure what the shot is like. So this means for now I will try to just block the scene out, but not from through the camera, because sometimes this helps. When you know that you won't move the camera, you can block a scene right through the camera, so you don't care what the back sides of something is because you won't see it. But as I like to do it, or as I will be doing it in this stream, I will try to flesh out this little street section here that I have as far or as much as I would need it. Okay, so this block here is supposed to be a warehouse, and this is supposed to be a street, or yeah, just a little city block. And from what I can see already is that this street here is not wide enough. So from my gut feeling here, it needs to be this wide if those are also other buildings there. And those are just references supposed to be to refer to street lamps, and they are way too close together. So what the hell is going on here? Oh, of course, now this works. Maya, I'm calling it a behemoth because it grew since I think the first version came out in 1998, and have constantly built upon this software and changed the menus around, but at its core, it's still the same buggy, unstable mess that it was 20 years ago, with a lot of new features on top. So you never quite know why something isn't working. And to me, Maya is the 3D software with the most workarounds that you can do, because sometimes you just have to do it because for some reason or another in a new version, your workflow doesn't work anymore, and you have to find a new workaround. Okay, let's have another look at the chat. I actually think it deserves one post. Will there be a post-mortem for the post-mortem? Yeah, I think I should have shot more video footage of me just sitting in the corner and going, oh my god, I'm never going to finish it, oh my god. But then I think it wouldn't be very interesting. But of course I will, as always, try to shoot some little behind the scenes snippets and stuff when I'm just on set shooting, talking into my phone, talking about how tired I am and that I don't know my lines. So yeah, I think I will be making a little bit of making of, but again, I really need to focus and not get this out of hand, because with the Ludum Dare, what is a Ludum Dare post-mortem? Well, it's a documentary of making a game, and then when I make a making of, it's essentially a making of a making of making a game for some game jam. And yeah, it tends to cascade from there, because for the making of, sometimes there's also, even in the making of, there's a lot of interesting tricks involved, and sometimes I want to think, I should make a making of the making of the making of a Ludum Dare game. So I need to stop. I really need to stop. Okay, let's have another look through our camera. This one here, and from my gut feeling here, now these blocks there behind look a little bit more sensible in their placement. Okay, what is important for this kind of digital scene extensions and matte paintings in general is detail, because of course you want it to feel as it is in the real world, which means you got a lot of dirt and grime and details, in a sense, that aren't usually inherent to computer graphics. Which means we got to trick a lot, and yeah, trick a lot. Is this English? Well, we got to fake our way around it, that we don't have or don't want to spend hours just painting the perfect patch of concrete, while at the same time wanting to appear that it has this amount of detail. And one solution is that, which is great in visual effects, because they're not real time, is that you can diminish the amount of fidelity your graphics need from the camera. So it's perfectly fine if I don't have any kind of geometry on this one, for example, because it's so far away from the camera. Probably a texture will do. Maybe don't even need a normal map. Maybe just some divisions, or just a few tacked on polygons for proper shadow casting, but that's about it. The real deal, or the meat of all those polygons, will be closer to the camera, where I'll be needing them. But this is why we have this concept painting here. Everything is supposed to be pretty dark here around anyway, because also this is a sneaky shot where we are just, or in this case I'm as the detective, just sneaking up to some back door of this warehouse. So it's okay if there's a lot of darkness and things aren't really well defined, and this all helps us. Because when working on big visual effects movies, and you spend weeks just on one shot, trying to model everything perfectly, and then the lighting artist comes in, and 80% of it is just gone in the shadows, and then pretty much all of your work is in vain. But we're not working on a big visual effects blockbuster, thank God. We're working on a small indie FX blockbuster. But the good thing is that I know where I want to go with this, and don't have to work, or don't have to do more work than is actually necessary. Okay, back to Maya. What I also wanted here in front was some way of giving this a little bit more, more detail, more texture, more sense of a place. And I would do this here with some kind of dumpster. That it's just not this plain wall here. And also, if we have another look here at this shot here, is where I'm behind something. In this case, it's the car. So if I have a dumpster at roughly the same place, it would have a motivation, as we say, for this shadow here. So I'm just duplicating my reference, my size reference for myself here. The dumpster is not as tall as me, perhaps, but something around this size here and close to the wall. And you know what? Let's have another one there. Or even turn it around like so. And then, now that it snaps at 90-degree angles. And then again, always check through our camera perspective if it's even visible or not. So this is the dumpster here. So apparently it's not really that visible. Maybe we put on there on the wall some kind of billboard later on, but this doesn't really have to be here. Maybe there's even a back-facing wall. This doesn't make any sense. A back wall. This is what I intended to say. Something along those lines. That here is just perhaps from another building, perhaps some kind of courtyard or yard that's back here. Maybe this is a gate or something. Just to block things off a little bit further. And the wall is not even even visible here in frame, so maybe this is just for shadow casting purposes. But yeah, just again, I'm just blocking out what assets that I will need to, in a sense, recreate, or as what I'm probably looking at is doing projections. And you know what? I think we can, that this stream is not going to be too boring in a sense, that you just see me place gray blocks. I think for this warehouse here, I'm doing now, will be doing some kind of very crude texturing, or just some applying effects onto this one, or yeah, texturing is a surfacing in a sense, where I'll be looking at a picture of a warehouse and then just trying to map it onto this block here. So let's save this here. And I have a lot of references for all kinds of 1940s stuff, but not so much for warehouses. So this one will probably, also with the color photos, I was very lucky that I got some colored pictures in there. Something maybe along those lines here, but I probably won't be able to use this photograph there in particular, but this at least has good references here, for example, for the street lamps, if I decide to recreate them, or just some kind of, yeah, telephone poles. What I really like about this is all those wires, electrical wires hanging there. And this gives it, if you look at this picture, it gives it a sense of realness in a sense, yeah. Okay, so maybe, you know what, maybe we can try to map this one. This looks pretty good, because it's very square shaped or rectangular shaped, and there's not much in front of it. So maybe we can use this. Just have a look through my references there, if I find something better, but I don't think that I will. Yeah, maybe this one, but this is just so bad. This is original resolution. I mean, of course, this is now 4K screen shrink down to HD for YouTube, but still it's too small that I can properly use it. Yeah, coming across photographs of this area in a resolution that is halfway decent was an exercise in research. So yeah, I scoured the archives, many archives that were accessible for public domain photos and even proprietary photos, just to get a sense of the place and get enough high resolution photos that I can use either as references, or yeah, I think this, now we're around it, that it rolled back to the first one. So let's find what I had before. Where is it? Yeah, I like to do my research and get things right from the get-go. And at a point you develop some kind of sixth sense where to find good pictures. Sometimes you can even find great public domain images on Flickr from the Library of Congress, for example. Okay, so let's take this one here, and I want to recreate at least the front of this part here of this building. So what's it called? Multnomah Block, Southwest Morrison. Okay, where is it? It's this one. No, it's the other one. Okay, so this must be the same location in a sense, which is good because we got enough fidelity there. Right now, I'm not concerned that this is black and white, because this will be black and white. Oh, what am I saying? Of course it will be black and white. This will be a night scene. So once I placed all the lights, I will see how much is actually illuminated and how much color I actually need for this, which I can do the recoloring later in Photoshop. Okay, so there are multiple ways to do this, what I want to do, and I'm taking the path of least resistance. And before that, I want to tell you about the path of most resistance. No, this doesn't work either. But you can, of course, import this or any photo that you want and have a camera there and use it essentially as kind of projector. It's like, yeah, you put on an image and then it projects this image out into the world onto geometry. And there you can bake this kind where it's just from the current angle of the projector onto the geometry and in a sense bake it. So if you line up all your elements there or all your blocks that it matches the perspective in the photo perfectly, then you can just bake it, which is helpful for more elaborate shapes. But since again this one is just some kind of elongated cube, I can do this all in Photoshop. So let's close this here and bring our image here and do this the very crude way and see how far I need to take things in terms of touching those up. Because like I said, I've been working on this for so long and I've made so many mistakes where I put in way too much effort or details where they weren't really necessary and no one will see them, not even me. And this is why I'm trying to sober up in terms of effort I spend, that I spend it I cleverly and don't sink hundreds of hours into wrong approaches to things. Okay, let's have another look at the chat to see if people are still there. Yes, I got still 10 concurrent viewers. Thank you so much. Wires, Frank says, wires probably give it more work. Yes, but again, this is going to be, the camera won't be moving, so I think I can just paint those wires in Photoshop. We will see if this turns out, or how it turns out. Okay, so I got this here in Photoshop now, and this doesn't look perfect, of course, but it's good enough that we can work with it. So what I'll be doing now is change here the size of my canvas, and then I will just stretch it. Okay, the performance here is now really terrible because I got so many programs open here. Maybe, you know what, maybe I just close Premiere right now, and maybe even Nuke, because Nuke is eating up a lot of GPU memory. And let's hope for the best. Is the performance getting better? No, it isn't. Okay, maybe it's because of streaming. This could be. But yeah, why can't I move this thing around here? Okay. Okay. It works or it doesn't. Anyway. Okay, so I make the whole background here now black. Maybe I should restart Photoshop. This isn't any fun. And now what I want to do is... Oh man, this is so slow. You know what? I try to restart Photoshop now. But yes, you know what? Let's save this, of course, that I don't have to do it again. I have a folder for each individual VFX shot, which is very helpful if you want to keep different versions of things and don't want to link to a folder where all your textures are or all your models are. I want, even if it means a lot of copying around, I want each shot to be self-contained in a sense. Okay, I save this under image sources and call this a building warehouse front version 1. And then we restart Photoshop. I think maybe this was the reason. Or maybe it's because I have here the material editor open in Maya. You know what? Let's close this as well and have a look at the GPU and the overall performance. So CPU is looking good. Ethernet, well, of course, I'm streaming. GPU is looking okay. And Photoshop has... Okay, there is no reason for Photoshop to be lagging. But again, this being... Oh, okay, look at this. Restart and now it works. Okay, so now I'm going to de-skew this essentially and try to correct the perspective there from it. But it should be just good enough that we can map it onto our little block there. And the interesting or funny thing is that once you do this skewing, it looks almost right, but you can see here, of course, you can see into this depression there on the building on this side, but not on the other side, for example. So it looks almost correctly, but again, the good thing is we know from which angle we are looking into our scene, and from where we are, this will work out for us. So again, this is a very crude and fast way of doing things. And again, it should work. It should work for us. Of course, not as is. Maybe we need to do some adjustments here and there and try to get at least those lines straight. I mean, I'm not that lazy. So this looks good. Man, I did this way too much. Another short audio drop there. You mean audio drop in volume? Please let me know if it's volume, or maybe I should be very close to the microphone and do some ASMR compositing. Or maybe just turn up the volume there. But I can't actually. Let me have a check here at the filters. The microphone is gained up by 12 decibels, so it's quite a lot. Oh, you got cut off for a second. Oh, okay. This might be down to all this huge crap going on there in my memory because I had so many programs open there. So I hope you can still follow along. If there are too many dropouts, since I'm recording this also locally, I will just upload the recording and not keep the stream as an archived stream open. But okay, usual volume is okay. Cool. Thank you. Okay, so let's take care of this section here that was cut off there. One thing is I could, you know what? Again, path of least resistance. I copy it over from here, and then just move it around and scale it. Not like this. Like so. And it is perfect. Maybe soften the edges here a bit. Oh, this was hard. The hard edges, turning down the softness. This is always a good way of trying to cheat around any kind of harsh transitions. Softness parameters are always great. Okay, so this will be my texture, at least for now. And again, it's everything that's when you're working in a creative field. I've learned it over the years. There is so much just about iteration times and iterating. So without trying to work even further with this here, I'm just trying to put it into the scene and see how it looks and then make changes. This is what I meant to say, but I hardly finish any thoughts or to vocalize any thoughts because I'm already having the next one. My next thought here is maybe I can fit, this will be the texture page, right? And I'm thinking maybe I can fit more buildings in there that maybe I need them. So I make this a little bit smaller so that I don't need a single texture page for each building, in a sense. Okay, so you know what? Let's have a look at the size of this thing, and it is 3,572 pixels squared, so which is good. And I'm just doing here some cleanup here. I put it in a group in Photoshop or in a bin, which I call just diffuse. I don't think we will be using any kind of maps such as reflection or specularity or normal, but you never know. Maybe a streetlight might be reflecting. Just to be on the safe side. And then I save it out as PNG, or you know what? It's a JPEG is fine. A JPEG for our purposes right now is fine. So I just call it building warehouse front diffuse. Usually you don't want to have some kind of compressed formats when you're doing high-end visual effects. But then again, for one thing, it's just for testing stuff out. And the other thing is, most of the time, no one will see it. But when you're working with very high-end stuff and you really have to do a lot in compositing, you're grateful for any bit of information that you have there that is not compressed or anything. Okay, another thing is that since we're looking through the camera here, we don't need any backside to this. We don't need the roof, we don't need the side walls, we don't need the back walls, and we certainly don't need the base wall. Essentially, we just need this one polygon here. And this is a good old way of doing things, just deleting all the faces that you can't see. reminds me of those old Counter-Strike maps. I mean, of course it's always still a practice to delete all the polygons that the player will never see. It's always funny when you are in spectator mode and go to places where players were never meant to be, and you see that it's all just billboards like this. Okay, so we got this thing here. It's called pcube3. So since that I'm working with it, I call it warehouse front _1, just that I can refer to it. And it needs UVs or texture coordinates. And since this being Maya, where is it? There we have it. UI elements. No, I'm completely wrong. Windows. There we are. General editors. No, it's the... Where's my UV? Did they change it again, or did I just lose it? There it is. Modeling editors, UV editor, of course. Of course. Or movie sets for old westerns. Yeah, of course. Just build the facade. You don't need anything put behind there. Okay, so as you can see, this is our texture. All right, probably you can't see it. Why aren't there in this editor all those things grayed out that I thought there were? Okay, now there it goes. So okay, so this whole thing here that's called UV1 V1 is the texture page, the UV texture page for this element here, and our element is just here. I don't know if you can see it here on the stream, but if I'm moving this around here, of course it updates there the texture. But the problem is that of course it's very badly stretched, and of course I could just try to eyeball it and see to make it appear unstretched, but there's a better way to do this, and this is of course finding the textures from, or just projecting the coordinates onto textures, or yeah, and this is what I'm going to do. You can have a plane that just maps onto another plane. This is what I will do. Otherwise, there are other things where you just want to wrap your texture projection around it, like it's a huge cylinder. Then, of course, there's the same thing with spheres and so on. So you pick, of course, the texture projections that works best for your object. This is, yeah, of course, basic modeling 101. Okay, and for this, I do a planar mapping, which means it projects the texture from one side. And since this is here from the X, along the X-axis, we'll just project it onto there and say keep image width and height ratio, and there we go. So now it fills out this whole texture page there, but it keeps its ratio. So in a sense, those squares are squared and not squashed or stretched in either direction. So, and now it's time to load up our texture and then see how we can make this fit here, that it's still not distorted. Okay, now again, it's time to bring up here, where is it, rendering the Hypershade, which is a shader graph. And I think if you've worked with some kind of node-based shader editing, it's the same thing here in Maya, but yeah, not real-time. I mean, Maya has real-time capabilities, yeah, but you can do more stuff that isn't possible in real time. So you can have different shaders or materials, as it is called here, and there's a lot to it, and depending on which renderer you'll be using, they all have different upsides and downsides, which I won't get even close into in this chat, in this stream here. So texture, no, I'm here in RAlt. You know what? Let's pick standard Maya surfaces and pick the blend. And yeah, let's pick the blend shader. It's not physically correct, but it's correct enough. So I just drop it here, and nothing happened because, of course, we need to import our texture first. And again, this is so Maya. You need to tell it it's a file node, and the file node needs to have a place to denote. And did I put it here into image sources, building warehouse diffuse? Yes, there it is. And I turned down this specular color down to 0 because it shouldn't reflect, it's just a very diffuse reflection. And you can see here, this is how it looks like if I turn off the grid now. And of course it doesn't work because it's plainly obvious that our facade here is way too long for what we're trying to do here. But not a big problem. I'm just splitting it up and repeating this thing here. I could always also say that I want to repeat it in the texture, but yeah, I usually want to keep things clear, and since I'm more likely to change the mesh, the polygons, the model essentially, I will be doing the splitting in the model in the polygons. Oh my god, those menus are just so small. Mesh tools. Oh, did I just hide mesh toolkit? Yeah, mesh tools. Oh, let's pull this out. Okay, so I can here, where do I have it? Split edge. No, this is not insert edge loop. So I can add here additional polygons where I want them. And I'm just trying here to get roughly the aspect ratio correct. And yeah, now it looks like this. So I have now 3 more polygons. Well, actually, it's since it's in triangles, it's not 3 more, it's 6 more, or in this case 4 more. Oh man, math. Good thing I don't have to do anything that involves math. Maths, not meth. Oh my god, it's getting late. Right. Okay, so I will be splitting those faces here. Where is my toolbar? I used to have a toolbar. Oh, here are the tools, right. Pinning, transform, cut and sew. Cut tool. Yes, let's cut it here and here. Good. This changed, of course, again, our pretty projection. But, you know what? You know what? I'm doing this the whole wrong way. I just need one segment here, which needs to be in the right size. Why isn't it scaling it here? Man, I just need one segment here and can't just repeat it how often times that I would need it. Man, this is taking much longer than necessary. Okay, UV. I'm doing something wrong here and I can't quite put my finger on it what it is. Probably because I need to delete the history, which sounds really harsh, but in Maya terms this means since everything you do has some kind of undo history, and this is not only globally but also locally to each object, where you can say you want something from 20 steps back and where you were just tweaking the vertices. And sometimes, yeah, this is messing things up. And this is why it's a good practice when you know that you don't need to go back to something. You can destroy essentially all the undo values. And this is to delete the history and edit. Usually when I'm not vocalizing things, I just have it from my automatic memory here. But right now I'm really hard pressed to find delete history. Whoa. Delete all by type. There we go. Delete history. And then it should probably work here that I can now. Why can't I? Why can't I? It's not my day today. My computer today crapped out like I think 2 or 3 times, and I don't know why. Because it has been incredibly stable since I got it, which is also on my other channel. You can see me build this behemoth of a computer. I don't know why it's acting up strangely today, and at least I'm lucky that the stream last time, or the stream just before for the DOS Game Club, worked out so well. You know what? Let's do this. Sorry, it looks like I'm a complete novice here, just fumbling around Maya. This really sucks, because I want to show you just some cool snap, 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 quick progression of doing something, and I didn't manage to do it. Okay, so let's try this again. Maybe it's on me. I think it's on me. So let's bring up our hypershade again and drop the material. And UVs. You see, now it works. This is what I wanted to do. And yeah, let's not concern ourselves whether this is squashed, stretched, or any other kind of distortion afflicted. We just put it in there to see how it looks, and then do the good old 1990s way and just duplicate it and have it, yeah, just be another copy of it there, and have a look through the camera and see. And you know what? It doesn't look too bad from this angle. All things considered, of course, I try now to close all those overlays there that you can really evaluate by yourself. Mesh tools, let's close this camera, image, plane there. There we go. So you can see it doesn't look as bad. I mean, of course, if you really watch closely, you can see that it repeats, but it almost even works here with this kind of background looking through, but it doesn't quite work as well. But it works. Let's put it like this. It works well enough. So I think I say I'm happy with this. So let's get rid of all those little inconsistencies, like, yeah, that you can see here, the sky poking through behind. Okay, cool. This is a task for Photoshop, and you can see here, if I zoom in real close, you can see all those JPEG artifacts here really sticking out. But again, this will be in the background, and then on top of it there will also be some kind of film grain there, and it's night, and maybe put in some fog in compositing here. And yeah, just anything that I can just cheat my way around it, that it's a compressed source. So let's sample this layer here and see if I can use my good old stamp tool here to pretty much cheat my way around it here, and it works. Just need to delete here this spillover here. This works. I'm a little bit surprised how well it works, but you know what, I take it. This minor repetition there is, I think this is okay. So okay, now we've established that this works. Let's try to make it a little bit more high fidelity looking, just a little bit. And one thing that I like to do is just make sure that it's normalized. Give it a little bit more contrast, something like this. And I just see that this thing here, I'm just zooming in here, this thing here appears to be like it's coming from another building that was in the photograph before I distorted it. So I will also take care of this. I don't care that this one here, I spilled it over a little bit over the bounds. So okay, let's save it and override the JPEG that we just made and see it update in Maya. If it updates in Maya, okay, let's bring back the hypershade. Okay, now once I open up my hypershade there, then Maya is kind enough to update the file for us. Okay, so I say that this looks bearable for now, and since there will be some kind of street lights in front, I want this facade to cast some kind of little shadows onto itself. And since we just copied this, I can delete it here. And now I'm trying to give this a little bit more depth by also saving myself time and effort. So I'm going to just split up this whole individual polygon and then just pull some things out, recess other things there, and then just try to make it a little bit more interesting in terms of geometry there. But then I'll just leave it as it is. Okay, so I just closed my mesh tools before. There we go, and I say insert edge loop. And I'm not quite sure if you can see, there are very faint green lines where I can, yeah, add new lines. As you can, maybe you can see here a little bit better what is happening here. If I zoom in, yeah, the line is always 1 pixel wide, so you probably won't be able to see it. But as soon as I'm done here, I can show it what benefit this brings me, where I'm just trying to, yeah, recreate where the windows are, like so. But the big problem there, of course, is that it was shot at an angle and not straight on. So I have this kind of side walls that are still, yeah, they don't look plausible in a sense. But again, I only needed just a little bit that it looks right and correct when I cast the shadows. So for now, let's say I keep it like this. And now that I have it split up like this, can I switch over to faces? Yeah, I think now it's better to see what I did here. Now I have all those individual faces. I just, yeah, split, put in more segments into this one. And then I can just select them and extrude them backwards or into itself like this. And then the shadows, if there are any shadows, will be, of course, correct. Then, of course, I have this fringe here that I want to extend just a little bit. And essentially, this is how to do projections the cheap and easy way. Why can't I select it here? Again, Maya is giving me so much troubles today. But again, it's probably on me. So let's make this. No, why? Why aren't you? Why aren't you adhering to my mouse commands? Now it works. So I pull this one out here a little bit further, that it, should it cast shadows, that it looks a little bit more interesting. And you know what? Also with those bordering segments up here, I will also do this. And then we got something that appears it is if it is high poly, but actually isn't. Isn't this nice? Faking our way around things. Yeah, again, I've must triggered something there with Maya because it's acting strangely. But it's okay. I can deal with it. Wouldn't have been the first time that Maya was acting up. Okay, so if I turn off now the texture, you can see here how the geometry looks. And again, it's just the illusion with the texture of being more high poly than it actually is. And also from afar, it works, right? It works. And if you're really thorough here, we could delete superfluous, is this pronounced correctly? Polygons, for example, here with this threshold, I won't be needing this. And also here on the side, I don't need this because this one is sticking into the other building, so I won't be needing any segments there on the sides here as well. Don't need this. Of course, especially in offline rendering, which means not real time, deleting 2 or 3 polygons really doesn't matter this much. But again, this is some kind of perfectionist still peeking through all this what we just did. But again, I won't be touching the textures there for the borders there of the windows and this little I don't know what's the correct architectural term in English. In German, it's Sims, which sounds like an English surname. Okay, so I think I'm happy with this, and I will again just duplicate it here and have it once more on this side that it lines up here. Now, oh, isn't this cute? Now we got some sea fighting here because, of course, those are overlapping perfectly. But if I put it like this, then it's, yeah, you know what? I see what I did there. I need, of course, to extend this edge as well here. because I didn't properly extrude it. And you see what's happening now. Now I'm creating completely new faces, and Maya has no idea where to take the textures from, so it just takes the whole texture page for these individual faces. And yeah, now I'm having more problems than necessary. So before duplicating this, I'm going to do this the real fast and dirty way. I will also extrude this one here. Now, of course, I have their overlapping geometry and all kinds of things that I don't want here. But I can fix this by zooming in very closely over those two vertices that aren't overlapping. I don't think you can see it because the camera is already here clipping. But yeah, those vertices are not overlapping properly, but I can snap them to each other. But then again, the problem is that while they're exactly at the same position, there are still two vertices, so I need to merge them together. Ladies and gentlemen, unicorns, the joy of working with virtual models and polygons and stuff. And you know you're in real deep deep shit when Maya is complaining that your geometry is non-manifold. Yes, that's a term. Apparently, I've learned it through working with Maya and cursing. So I merge everything and hope that it didn't mess up anything. No, it looks good. It looks good. You know what's safe, and delete the history again. Delete by type history. Let's have another look at the chat at how many people are still there. Oh my god, I got 3 likes. Thank you so much. You know what? Cheers to you. By the way, I'm playing, as always, our little drinking game. Whenever I say unicorn, have about 2 liters of water each day because it's good to stay hydrated. Cool. Every time chat hears, let's have a look at, we should, this is a drinking game because I say this quite a lot. You didn't do those bricked up windows and especially the window sills. And you call yourself a perfectionist? Yeah, I'm sorry. You know what? After the stream, I will probably go in with my Wacom tablet and Wacom pen, and we'll be doing something of this. But you know, kidding aside, should I realize that it's plainly obvious in the final rendering, I will probably try to get those fringes as well there, some kind of way, touched up in some kind. Okay, so what I want to do now is, because I have now some models ready here that look barely usable. At least now you have a sense of scale here. And what I'm doing now is trying to get the lighting, that it's more pleasing for us to look at, for one thing. And the other thing is that I know how much I can save time on modeling for things that are probably too dark to be seen anyway. Okay, let's create. Let's start with a point light. Point lights are of course unrealistic because there is no such thing as a light source that emits from a point. This is the first thing you learn with physically based rendering, in a sense that everything that emits light needs to have some kind of emitter or emitting geometry. But not point lights, but it's fine anyway. So I'm just sticking it on top here. And again, now we have to refer to our references again to learn at least how high those street lamps are. And it turns out they are not as tall as the building there, but they come close. So in a sense, just for our stand-in geometry, just put the pivot there, the bottom. I think, around this high, I would think. Again, when I'll be rendering, I will probably have geometry for the street lamps as well, especially for the lamp parts here. So those will be my emitters, which will of course take longer to render. But for now, we can assess at least the light intensity and how it looks much better. Okay, another thing about physically based rendering or physical lighting in a sense is right now this light is infinite. And this is not good. We want our decay to be quadratic, or since I'll be working in the linear color space, it will decay linearly, because I think the formula is that the amount of light diminishes with the distance to the light source squared. So this, so in a sense, in practical terms, it means the closer you are to a light source when you're here and here, the difference between exposure is much, much higher than if the light source is here and we are here or here. So yeah, I think I've overcomplicated things here. So now I have to turn up, of course, the intensity now. Let's try 500 and let's see if I can have some kind of shadows there. It's just some very crude depth map shadows. Yeah, of course, now the the pole itself is casting shadows. I don't want this, so I just make it a little bit smaller here. But yeah, just so that we get a feeling of this road here. And I think I like it, because now we are here almost in the shadows, which I like very much. Let's have another look at the chat. Maybe it would look better if you didn't copy the entire thing, just the part without the door, and then have the door near the middle. Oh yeah, of course, you mean this one here, that that the door is a pretty telltale sign that I just duplicated it over and over. For now, I think this is good, but I think you mean that if I duplicate just this part here, let's do this now. Just move it over there. That it looks much better, because it looks more like that it's one warehouse with just one door and have maybe another door here. I mean, right now this didn't work what I just did, because I just stretched the polygons over it. But you know what? Let's do this. I take this edge here and split this geometry along this edge and hope for the best. You know what? Actually, this is quite good, because on this side here, then I can get rid of all those faces that I forgot to extrude as well. No, not those. Yes, this is good. This is good. Okay, and now I'm going to split it at this edge here, right? And oh no, you know what? I select all the faces that you can see better what I'm doing. And all the faces that aren't yellow will be a new object. So let's say edit mesh. No, it's mesh. Since they just shuffled around their user interface with every major release, or at least it feels that way, I constantly click the wrong menu. Okay, so let's say, is it separate? No, it's not separate. I need to extract them first. Oh man, what's mesh tools, mesh? Oh man, what's the right word? Is it? You get this. I got 3 menus for working with meshes. One is called mesh. Next one is called edit mesh, and the third one is called mesh tools. And I think I need edit mesh. Okay, so now I got all the 3 mesh menus open here. And the one that I want is connect. Damn it, I can't find it. Duplicate, extract, no. Separate. Am I blind? I think I'm blind, really. This isn't that hard. I'm so sorry. Symmetrize, merge to, no, bridge, bevel. Extract, right? This should do it. And now that I've extracted it, I can move it. Because I like to move it. Oh, of course. Yeah, so apparently it was extract now. And now I can just plop it on there and have it appear like one big warehouse there, where the repetition is not as obvious. So you know what? Let's save this and turn on or off the lights and see how we are looking. So again, I'm looking now through the camera here and turn off the image plane. And the one thing that, of course, we need to take into consideration is the lighting we have there on our foreground. You know what? I make a new image plane with just the portion of the frame that I want to keep, so that we don't have to look at this mess of lines here. So this should be done quite quickly. Where are we? Setups Photoshop. No, this was image references, I think. Yes, this one here. So essentially, this more or less is the part we want to keep. So I save this as a PNG file and call this image plane reference version 1, because there will always be a version 2 unless you call it version 1. References. There we go. Okay, so this looks almost good, but for some reason it doesn't. Because I think I'm having some issues here with the transparency there. Yeah, of the PNG file. How? Why is that? Ah, man. You know what? Since this is Maya, I don't know how often I've said this, but since this is Maya, we probably need to do things differently, because I will add now here an alpha channel and just keep this as transparency, duplicate it here and merge it down. Do I still have the channel? Yes, and save it as image plane as a TIFF with alpha channel and no layers. Ah, man, image plane reference version 01. LZW compression, because we're stingy with memory. Select camera, there we go. And try it as a TIFF. And it works. No, it doesn't. Ah, man. RGBA. I needed to have RGBA. Okay, and I really like how this looks, but not the perspective. Apparently, it's not correct. And we went through so much pain to check the perspective, and it didn't match. So I'm doing now the very bad thing of trying to match it like so. But maybe this works. Maybe this could work. Of course, now we need to move our street down the street. But again, this is why I've learned from my mistakes that I'm not doing things too perfectly the first time, unless I'm pretty sure that it works like this. So yeah, let's bring it a little bit back like so, or have here the pivot there that it's easier to move around. Yeah, again, the camera here is not perfect, but at least what we've learned is that we also need a light source, of course, to integrate this foreground there into the background. So there is our bin that I had, and there is this shadow there on the foreground. So maybe this trash bin is somewhere around here. And I'm trying now to get the light we had here and try to position it that it would make sense in the image, but as well at least hint at the light source that's coming there in the foreground. Something like this. Which means that we probably need here another light source in front, which makes sense because of course there would also be a street lamp here, like so. And yeah, essentially you're putting the cart, the horse before the cart before the wheels. I don't know what the saying is in English, but you're doing things backwards in a sense. You're not building a scene and then staging the actors. No, you got the actors and the lighting already done, and you need to fit everything around it. And I like the challenge of this. Okay, so just to evaluate things better, let's give it the light source here. Oh, this wasn't the light source. The light source, a color that roughly matches here the foreground. Again, this is not final. It's just for myself that I can better evaluate how things are looking. Since in the end it's going to be black and white, colors are not that important. But again, I want, like I said, I need to feel it in a sense. So let's save this color here and also use it for this light. There we go. And change the background to nighttime. And you can see how things are already coming along. And this is already a little bit of a magic moment where you can, yeah, again, see where things are, in a sense, coming together. Okay, and I know here that I need to put something there in the foreground. Maybe I will put some kind of trash cans, or that it looks as if we are just watching our guy through, yeah, we just observing him behind some trash there in the foreground, something like this perhaps. I don't know, just anything that this space here isn't as boring, because it's just a square of yeah, concrete or tarmac or anything, but there's nothing interesting there. And yeah, if you put something there that at least to guide the viewer's gaze onto this portion there with the detective, because I think this is the most interesting part. Okay, so let's move our street down the street, as I said, like this. So just barely enough, and maybe find something for this warehouse here in front, but I think the back already works as it is. You know what, maybe we could look at some kind of brick texture or brick building for this, but the downside to this would be that we need to do some more work on this one, because, oh my god, Photoshop, really? Because this is clearly is not a brick wall, and I'm walking here clearly against some kind of bush or shrubbery, and on this little patch of green there, I need to have something there in the scene either way, or the other way would be to just yeah, bite the bullet and rotoscope myself there for the entire scene, that it's just me walking towards something. Since rotoscoping means that if I had shot it against the green screen, it would have paid off better. Yeah, I'm not quite sure of this. Again, I can't use bricks because this one here doesn't use bricks, and it's too clean and frankly a little bit too modern. But yeah, I'm not quite sure. But first I want to get the setting somewhat right, and then I can think about how to incorporate stuff there. But yeah, this big bush there is giving me some troubles. You know what? I will think about it while I have a sip of unicorn and see what's up in the chat. It's something to do with the card. I mean, unicorn, the unicorn before the card. Oh, of course, the unicorn before the card. Oh, unicorn. Let's put the unicorn before the card and just be dazzled with magic. Can't use unicorn for something as pedestrian as pulling a card. Yeah, it won't. It won't. The only time a unicorn uses a card is when it is shopping for magical stardust at its local grocery store. Okay, let's evaluate this thing. What I like about it is this wall here. You know what? Let's pull it in even further. Maybe like so. By the way, what looks here as if I'm casting a shadow here is essentially just, where do I have it? This stand-in cube that I have here. This one. And maybe I can even animate this for the shadow here, that it looks as if I'm casting a shadow from this light here. Perhaps, we will see if I actually need to do it. Okay, I like the wall here. Maybe have again some kind of junk there, anything. And then I'm trying now, you know what? Yeah. What's important is that, come on Photoshop, that those lines there of, I don't know what are these called, fringes? No, layers of bricks, panes, I don't know. Those little lines that are stacked, what is really important is, of course, that they also match the lines in this stand-in building here. And this is again why I need to again reposition my camera here, that they're really spot on. Otherwise, yeah. Okay, I'm now not turning the camera, but this thing here, yeah, maybe I can cheat a little bit and turn this warehouse that it matches a little bit more. I think if it doesn't have to be perfectly angular, perfectly in a straight angle to the road. On the other hand, I think it's easier if I just rotate the camera. So what I'll be doing now is have one view for the camera and one view for the perspective. I should have done this earlier, I think, that I can position the camera much better than when I'm looking through it. At least that's my plan. And for that I need to switch over here to wireframe mode and make this a little bit less tall, just that I can evaluate better that the lines are actually meeting up. And there's another thing that I can do here, and that is zoom into the camera view, that I can really make sure that I'm as pixel perfect as possible. Okay, for this I need the 2D camera tools. Zoom tool. Damn it, I think yeah, I'm zooming in the camera in and out, which is cool, but I also need to zoom of course the image plane accordingly. So tumble tool, no, okay, this doesn't work. This doesn't work that I can have the image plane on the camera and zoom into the image with the plane. Oh my god, what did I do? What did I do? Undo. Damn it. Okay, so yeah, again I'm trying here to match here the perspective as well as the orientation of the lines there on the building there in the back. And it's not helping that Maya is for some reason making those steps in the movement, and I want it to rotate freely. So why is this happening? Why is this happening? Come on, Maya. Snap off. Yeah, that's better. Snapping is off. And that I can evaluate it better, I switch over to wireframe, but now I can't see it, so I need to change the background color, and it's fiddly, but at least it's not as bad as with Reaper. Okay, and now of course I can't really understand what's foreground and what's background there, so I will be deleting all the faces there that are in the back here. So this helps me a bit better here evaluating. Evaluating the alignment. What did I do? No. Camera. There we are. No. This is the camera's origin, but I need it to be in the camera, like so. And yeah, wireframe. It's a lot of hoops you have to jump through just to start aligning the camera here. I'm not saying perfectly, but sufficiently. I think the word is sufficiently. And I think I think I got it. Kinda. Yeah, I think I got it. Let's keep it like this and make this warehouse here taller again and see how it looks with our textures and the lighting. Yeah, I think like this. But now, of course, it doesn't look as looming or intimidating, the shot. But yeah, I think for starters, this should work. So again, I'm not quite sure how to work in this part of shrubbery. And at this point, actually, to be frank, I'm considering maybe shooting this again against a different background, maybe some kind of brick wall, which is actually not that easy to find. I scouted locations for actually many hours, and this was the best one that I could come up with, that still I had close to where I live to shoot, that I don't have to lug all my equipment too far. But then again, apparently it's making more problems than it's helping with things. So let's move the street back up the street. Man, I really like this moving around of big portions. It feels a little bit like Inception, where this whole city block is just turning over. Could you do the trick you mentioned earlier about projecting a texture from a camera and then look around more freely? Yes, the thing is there that I need to this background. I can't. This camera where I shot myself with. This sounds odd. I really can't move it around. I can move around the background, of course, and do all these projections, but yeah, what would help maybe is if I put on a grid as a texture on this for the alignment. Yeah, this could work. So let's make here a new shader. Yeah, let's give it a blend, apply it here. Color, let's say checkerboard, and placement, and let's say 50 here and 50 there, or just 1, that I can better evaluate where are the lines on this thing here. But I think, yeah, it's still not perfect. Or yeah, maybe just have it like this, striped like this. And yeah, it's just a way of backwards figuring out how many lines I need to mock what is there in the foreground. Huh. Ah, man, this is really tough. This is really tough. Because now I don't like quite how this thing is sitting here. Maybe like if it's here, now then again it looks better there with the lighting. Now this makes more sense in terms of the shadow casting there. I mean, of course I will blend this a little bit better to integrate it, but still, yeah, I think this is the best that I can do. And you know what, this wall here that I was just before obsessing about, that I really like how it looks, maybe I need to pull it even further, because again this will be in the end 4:3, and this framing is now 16:9. So yeah, I'm not quite sure how much there will be visible. So again, just checking here, and this okay, so you can see this white thing there. This is part of the framing reference that I said, where I cropped the image to 4:3 aspect ratio. I think I still have it here in the concept painting. Yes, so of course I need to be aware of this, that anything beyond this point won't be really visible. So I could theoretically even pull the wall up as close as this, perhaps. But then again, the shadow wouldn't work, because of course the shadow comes in here quite late. So there is still this car there, so maybe pull this wall back here, that it's more sensible, or just put something in front of it. So yeah, just cheat your way around. And for this warehouse here in front, again, I'm just, where did you come from? Huh. Apparently I moved it over or copied something. I don't know where this happened. Either way, I'm just duplicating this, and just for now, and to make it a bit more interesting, I pull it a bit forward like so, and copy it again, and let's evaluate it here. So yeah, that this looks a little bit more interesting now than otherwise it would if the road or all the buildings in a road are flush. It looks boring, and I like how it gives this a little bit more personality, and also if it's a little bit taller or not as tall. Yeah, just some variation there to keep things interesting. Of course, it would be nice to have some kind of free 3D model of some 1930s car sitting there. This would really help a lot. Hello, Sheepdog123. You're late, and you're probably wondering what the hell is going on here. And just to reiterate, I'm making a digital set extension because for this one shot here that I have here, and this little thing here with me is the only portion that I will use, and the rest will be completely digital. And yeah, I'm mulling over whether I should do a reshoot of this, because this green shrub here and this little bit of grass here, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense in this scene here, right, where it's supposed to be some kind of industrial district. Yeah. But you know what? I for now let's just keep it like this. And of course, I will be change this facade here for something else, this building front. But for now, I just keep it as it is. And you know what? Just to try things out, you know what? I take this one here and see how it looks if I put it over what we just got over this here. Why am I doing this? I don't know, probably just to see how it looks. Sometimes you just have to go with your gut, and apparently it doesn't look too bad, frankly. Well, of course it doesn't fit, but one thing that I like is that it really gives me this size reference there for the door. If I move it here, that it looks more interesting that way. Of course, you can't have all those buildings because this is now the front of those warehouses and not the side. But overall, okay, this what I learned from this now is that apparently the sizing of the buildings is correct, because the door frame is roughly the right size. Actually, actually, those need to be just a little bit taller. So I just group them together, all those buildings, maybe this one also. Drop it into this cube here and scale them up. What? No. Where are, oh, of course, I put it into the wrong group. Classical. Yeah, it's like with game objects in Unity, where when you scale the group as a by itself, all the children get scaled equally or accordingly. Good. Cool. Not cool. Yeah. You know what? I'm really tempted to try out some kind of brick wall texture on this one, just to see if a brick wall would make more sense, and then I have to cut myself out there from the background. Yeah, again, I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure how to proceed. You know what? I'm a little bit more interested in giving this foreground here some more detail or some more interest, in a sense. Maybe let's make this warehouse taller or smaller. No, let's make it taller. It's like a 2-story warehouse, and maybe it has some kind of billboard towards the road there, towards the street aligned, to give it a little bit more interest. But yeah, again, I will be looking at some references again to see what else is there on the road. One thing that I can see right away is that we have some kind of pavement here, or yeah, sidewalk for pedestrians, even there in this kind of very industrial looking neighborhood. So and of course for the ramps, they go down for all the delivery trucks, I would assume. And then maybe I get started on modeling one of those street lamps there. But let's have another look at my references. Or you know what? I also have the reference of playing, what's it called? L.A. Noire, of course. So maybe I can find it. Sources reference, L.A. Noire footage. There we go. I mean, the game is quite old and it was for the past console generation, but still, yeah, of course. They also have the sidewalks there. They have different street lamps. Of course, yeah, the tarmac is not tarmac, it's just concrete slabs there. This is interesting. Oh, maybe have some kind of drain and some fire hydrants. Really, this is very inspiring. Once you started with something, it's good to do your research firsthand. Then you try to recreate this and then look at your research again, and then you notice all those little things that completely make sense that you forgot at the first time. Okay, so apparently I was looking at the street lamp here, at how they did it. And yeah, this is this kind of door that I wanted there in my footage, or in the final shot, something like this. So if I didn't have any kind of constraints, this is how I would have built it and how I would have filmed it. So, but there is nothing much more here in terms of foreground apart from this brick structure there. That's just chest high, I would assume. And there's nothing in front. But maybe is there even some kind... Oh yes, there's a little bit of junk there. Okay, so we got this huge garbage bin here. Note to self, research garbage bins from the 1940s, and some trash there that of course needs to be era appropriate. You know what? Let's try a little bit with the sidewalk and to see where is Maya? There is Maya. And to see if it makes things a bit more interesting. And I will do the sidewalk now by just... Oh, I got soft selection activated. This is great. How did this happen? Soft selection off. There we go. By just lowering the street level there. And it's, you know what? I want my sidewalk not to be as broad as it is in the game, but more like this. So it's just a little bit, and whoop, there we go. Now we have sidewalk. And for if I wanted to lower this, I just make it like so, and there we have our sidewalk lowered. And it looks a little bit more interesting, I think. Yeah, this certainly gives it some more perspective. This was a good call. I like this. Maybe have it here also in the back, that at this point here it's just for delivery trucks. So let's also lower this one here. And of course here at the end we have some faces from our extrusion in the opposite direction that we won't be needing. Also on this side here. Do I need to delete them? Absolutely not. Do I want to? Absolutely yes. Okay, so again, save it from... It still looks very clean, and of course now the street lamp here doesn't make a lot of sense. Is the street lamp on the sidewalk or on the street at the side of the sidewalk? Let's find out. It's on the sidewalk. Okay, and just to double check, always double check. Of course I need to find now my reference image. Source images, references, locations. There we go. Now, where was it? Was it this one here? No, but this also looks good. Here we go. Yes, also they are squat squat and flat there, sitting on the sidewalk like this. Okay, cool. So I think I'm going somewhere at least with this. Again, I will be doing the street lamps properly the next time, or until the next time perhaps. But yeah, at least I got a place where this might be still usable, regardless of whether I will be using this shot here, precisely this shot here, or one that is similar in setup. Because now that I got it more or less in 3D, nudging the camera around a little bit is not that much of a problem anymore. Whew. Okay, so at least some progress made today. Never intended to have that much progress, but I'm really happy how it's coming together. And yeah, with this poor man's projection there, it still works and gives us some kind of sense of place, and I think this is the most interesting there. Okay, I think I'm about to finish the stream for today, but let's have another look at the chat. And again, thank you so much for following along. 10 concurrent viewers. This is still more than I could have hoped for just watching a guy curse at himself and Maya especially. Could you do the trick you mentioned earlier about projecting a texture? Oh yeah, this was, or extend the straight lines in Photoshop so you can see them better. Oh yes, this would have also helped. Yeah, maybe I do this later. This is good. And looks decent from blah blah blah, some channel. So I think I can live with looks decent. So this is how my workflow of how I do things when I'm doing this kind of digital set extensions, is that I start out doing a paint over in Photoshop that I know where the hell I want to go with this. Wow, this is not what I wanted to to have there, but yeah, you've seen the paint over before. That I start with the paint over, that I have a rough idea also where the lighting is, and then go in Maya, do the quick blocking, and then come just one by one start to flesh it out. But usually I don't have to second guess my choices when filming in the background. And again, a digital set extension should be an extension and not a complete set replacement, as this thing is more or less turning out to be. But yeah, I give it some more hours of work and see if this is feasible, even with those stripes there on the building. And if not, I have to reshoot it, and if everything fails, I will probably reshoot it in our apartment against the green screen. But then again, which would also be good in a sense, because then I have the 3D model and already know where the lighting there in this virtual scene is, and could just reenact it accordingly and have the lighting at least to my abilities match as perfect as possible. Yeah, and this is why a documentary about making a game in one weekend is taking so long. Because of this. Okay, I will save this now, of course, and switch back to Big Phil. Hi, I'm Big Phil, and let's answer any more question that should maybe have popped up in the chat or not. I'm also trying learn, so this helps a lot. Thank you. Oh, good. So this was not completely just boring the devil out of anyone watching. Yeah, if you have any questions with Maya or anything concrete, I've been bashing my head against this software for a decade now, or even longer. And before that, I started in 3D Studio Max and did this for 5 or 6 years before starting with Maya, and never picked up Blender. And from what I've learned, what Blender is already capable of with the latest release, I think I should have switched to Blender in the past 5 years. But now each time that I try it, it just feels so completely different to what I'm used to. So I think I'm a dinosaur that's stuck to Maya. Fun to watch behind the scenes. Oh, thank you so much. Again, it's more than I could have hoped for, that people still take time out of their probably busy schedule to watch just some guy that is yours truly talk about how much he hates Maya and about video he's been working on for over a year now. Oh my god. Okay, so if there aren't any more questions, it's not a problem. If you should have a question, pop it in the comments or be there next week where I'll still be streaming something creative that I've been up to the week. Probably, maybe something in doing preparations for the upcoming Ludum Dare. So again, thank you so much for watching. I say another time, unicorn, so that we all stay hydrated. I can already feel my throat now after 4 hours or so of talking today. So again, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great week and that I didn't waste too much of your time. But yeah, again, it really means a lot to me that there are still people out there just watch me do my crazy creative shit. So thank you so much. Okay, that's it from me today. Have a great week and probably will see you next week. And if not, the week after that, I'll be doing streams every Sunday. Okay, I'm just trying to find now the right button for the transition that I can say thank you so much for watching and may the unicorns bless you for the next week and the week thereafter. But then again, you have to watch to get a new blessing. Okay, bye.